So we're going to be looking at the theme time and change in relationships, and I have picked the poems Winter Swans versus Neutral Tones. They go well together. Both poets present a relationship as changing over time. However, Shears presents reconciliation, whereas Hardy presents irreversible emotional decay. Winter Swans skirted the lake, which shows distance, emotional separation. They halve themselves in the dark water, which shows unity has been restored. Relationships heal. Neutral tones, white sun, which shows lifeless love. Fallen leaves, which shows decay and death. God cursed sun, which shows bitterness and anger. So if I had to compare this, I would say Shears presents relationship as repairable, whereas Hardy presents them as permanently damaged.
Learn with Miss BB and smash the AOs.
Before we will look at the answer, we need to be really clear on what the examiner is asking us to do. This is an AQA poetry comparison question. This question is worth 30 marks, plus 4 marks for SPAG, so everything you write needs to be analytical and precise. Number 1, this is really important. You are not just analysing one poem, you must compare the named poem and one other poem from the anthology. You should follow this structure. Introduction. Paragraph 1. Compare idea 1. Paragraph 2. Compare idea 2. And then a conclusion. Let's start with this question. Compare how poets present change in relationships over time. Keywords are change, relationships over time. So this is not just about love, it's about how relationships develop. This is your essay plan, everything you need. Shears, conflict, resolution. Nature, healing. Relationships, improving. Hardy is all about decay, loss, emotional distance, and relationships ending. Take a screenshot. This is your structure for the essay. Now let's look at the introduction. Clear comparison straight away. Answers the question. Uses keywords like change and relationships. They say Shears, reconciliation and renewal. Hardy, decay and loss. That's a strong conceptual argument. They make a link it to AO3 skills. Shears, hopeful view. Hardy, pessimistic view. That's relevant, not forced context. Your introduction should argue, not retell the poem, and this is something I see quite often, students retelling rather than showing an argument. This paragraph is really strong. Let's break it down. They start with, both poems show change through nature, but always use that contrast. AO2 methods. Shears skirted the lake, which shows distance and conflict. Halve themselves, which shows unity restored. That shift equals relationships improving. Hardy, white sun, fallen leaves, which shows lifeless, cold imagery. Relationship is dead. Why this high level? They track change across the poem, not just one quote. They show development. AO3, they talk about Shears, modern, hopeful relationships, and Hardy, pessimistic, doomed love. Follow the journey, start versus end of the poem, which shows the development, and that's what the examiners love. So paragraph 2. This paragraph develops the idea even further. They move from imagery to tone and structure. That's progression, and that's what the examiners love. AO2 analysis. So Shears, our hands swum the distance, which shows reconnection. Verb, swum, shows effort and movement. Love requires work but can heal, which shows and then Hardy, God cursed sun, shows bitterness. Tone becomes harsh and final. This is top level thinking. Shears, relationships can recover. Hardy, relationships cannot be repaired. AO3 skills the student has used here talks about Shears, hopeful, dynamic view. Hardy, fixed, pessimistic view. Zoom into single words, that's where top marks are. Finally, the conclusion. What has worked well for the student here? Clear comparison, focus on change, mentions methods, they say shears, reconciliation and renewal, hardy decay and irreversible loss. Why is this strong? They return back to the question, how relationships change over time. So if you compare throughout, track change, analyze methods, link to the meaning, you're hitting the top bands. Just a quick reminder, top students don't just analyze what happens, they explain how and why it changes.